Hey everybody, welcome to Tatts episode 2. This episode is being hosted by Women of Worth program. We fall under the National Youth Pride Services. I'm going to give everybody a chance to get in so that they can enjoy the show. Basically what I'll be doing is I'll be talking to you guys about the tattoos and the piercings that I have, when I got them, what they stand for, that type of thing. And then at the end, I will answer any questions. So, like I said, I'll give everybody about a minute or two to get on. Let me get set up, and we will get started. Hold on here. Okay, I've got my lovely assistant here who's going to hold the camera for me. Look at her, isn't she lovely? Isn't she lovely? Okay, all right. Alright, so let's see who else we got up in here. We'll get started here in about 1 minute. Okay. Pronounce them. Okay.
Just looking at me.
All right. Okay, everybody. Give me just a second. Pull something up off of here real quick. Alright, so like I said, I've got about, collectively I've probably got about 12 piercings and 10 tattoos, 2 of which were cover-ups. So like I said a minute ago, I'm just going to kind of go over starting from my earliest tattoo to my most recent tattoo and piercing, and then at the end I will go ahead and take any questions should there be any. So let's see, my very first piece of body art was goodness, I gotta think back. It was a tattoo on my stomach. I don't know if I'm gonna show you guys because my body's not summer ready just yet. But it was a tattoo on my stomach, and I thought I was fresh out of college, probably a couple months. Excuse me, not out of college, out of high school. So this is back in like 1997, and a couple of us were celebrating. So we decided what better way to celebrate but to go to the tattoo shop. So we went in the tattoo shop trying to figure out what I wanted to get, and I originally wanted to get the yin yang because I'm a Gemini. So I wanted this yin yang that was going to kind of circle around my belly button, but I only had $60. So I was like, okay, well, what can I get for $60? And he showed me a book and some items and stuff, and I was like, well, I'm a hot girl. Back then it was bling bling and cash money and all of them, and so I was like, I'm gonna get some fire around my belly button. So I really tried hard to look for this picture, but I've been moving and stuff like that. So I have a picture of what my original tattoo looked like, and it was just your basic fire piece around my belly button. It wasn't anything spectacular. It cost me $60, and my grandma actually paid for it. She doesn't even know this, but if she happens to watch this show, I guess she's completely anti-Tatts. So little does she know, she's the one who got me my very first piece of body art, and it just kind of escalated from there. So after I got the fire around my belly button, I believe the next thing that I got was so I got that in San Antonio, Texas. A next piece of body art, I want to go ahead and say it was my tongue ring. I got my tongue ring this at San Marcos, Texas, where I went to school at. I used to work at H-E-B. I don't know anybody from Texas or from the South who may be familiar with H-E-B. It's basically a grocery store. So I was supposed to go into work about an hour and a half before I had to go into work. Somehow I just decided, let me go get my tongue pierced. Now I had been wanting to do it for a while, but I just got this wild hair, and I was like, I'm going to run over here to the tattoo shop. I'm going to get my tongue pierced, and then I'm going to take my butt to work. So I go, I get my get my tongue pierced, and it really didn't hurt. Like, I was deathly afraid of this, but it didn't hurt. He told me to breathe in, breathe out, and he was like, I'm going to count to 3, and I'm going to do it. So I breathe in, I breathe out, and he's like, all right, you're all done. I was like, wait a minute, we didn't count, what happened? It was already in there. He had just slipped it in there. So I take myself to work, and they were saying, don't eat anything spicy, stay away from certain foods, that type of thing. And I'm at work, and I was hungry, of course. And so what did I do? I had a sandwich. What I forgot was that the sandwich had mustard on it. So when I tell you that ring, that tongue of mine was burning from that little, I think it was probably like a ham or turkey sandwich, something like that. But it was the worst pain that I could imagine at that point in time. So the piercing didn't hurt, but eating that sandwich with that little spicy mustard almost killed me. Now, anybody who's gotten their tongue pierced, your tongue just kind of swells in your mouth, and you're supposed to put ice in there and, try to keep the swelling down. And of course, I'm at work, and I'm a bagger. So my job is to say, hey, hello, how are you doing? Do you want paper or plastic? And of course, I can't say all of this because my mouth is just sore. My tongue is swollen. And the best that I could come up with was, and I probably was slobbering at work. It was like, and people looking at me like I'm straight retarded. And I was like, what was I thinking? So that was my first piercing. So if you guys haven't got your tongue pierced, remember, stay away from the spicy stuff. Don't be like me. Don't go straight to work or something like that. Probably want to go home, put some ice in your mouth, let it die down. I think it took like a couple of hours to a couple of days before the swelling actually finally went down. But it's the tongue ring. I haven't worn my tongue ring in forever. So let's say I got this pierced back in like 1998 or so. And I wore it for a while, but going through certain jobs, you couldn't have it, so I would take it out, put like a clear one in and stuff like that. And probably in the last 4 or 5 years, I haven't really worn it consistently. So 3 or 4 days ago, I said, let me go ahead and put this tongue ring back in just to see if my hole is still open, because I wanted to be able to show you guys. And it was still open. It was a little sore because, again, I wasn't used to wearing this tongue ring. But I put it in just for you guys so I could show you that I do have this piercing. Once again. And so, yeah. So that was my second piece of body art. My third piece, let's see. Most of these happened while I was in college. So I want to say my third piece was, of course, everybody, for the most part, has their ears pierced. I decided to get the second hole pierced. on both ears. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay. And then after I got that done, probably a couple of weeks later, because I just got excited, I decided to get the tops up here, the cartilage pierced. This one has closed since then, but this one is still open. And again, yet another piercing that I don't use very often. So a couple of days ago, I decided I was going to try and get this earring in and see if it was still open. I probably wear something in this ear like maybe once a year. And it hurt because it was half closed. So I had to do a lot of work wiggling it in and trying to get that in. I had to go from the back, go from the front, and it's still sore right now. So I can guarantee you that I'm probably going to take this out as soon as I'm done videotaping this show. So let's see. After that, I believe I got my eyebrow pierced. So once again, San Marcos, Texas. I'm out in college, and somehow I decided, let me go get my eyebrow pierced. So this one is definitely closed. This was probably one of my worst piercings. Can you see? I still have like the two dots.
Yeah, we can see those.
So that's where it was. All I had was a simple bar. But this piercing, it never healed. It just kept bleeding and pussing up, and I don't know if it just my skin was rejecting that particular piercing or whatnot, or it could have been the fact that my grandmother didn't like this particular piercing. And so I remember after I got it done, I went home for the weekend, and as usual, Grandma greets me at the door, and I'm like, hey Grandma, I missed you. I go to give her a hug, and she like strong arms me. She's like, hold up, wait a minute, what is that on your face? And I'm like, oh, I just got my eye pierced. And she went a little left on me. Didn't want to give me a hug or kiss or anything. No welcome, because she just didn't like it. And at the time, my grandmother still combed my hair. She would use the hot comb or something like that on my hair. And that weekend, she was supposed to be combing my hair. But every time I turned around, that comb came real close down here by my eye, and she would snag it. And all I could do is cry. Just tears kept coming because it hurt like crazy. The other thing that kept happening to this particular piercing was I went to play tennis. I was playing tennis in college, intramural kind of sports. And my best friend at the time was my partner. And we were, I don't know what the heck we were doing. But we probably weren't doing what we were supposed to be doing. Because the next thing you know, I got a tennis racket upside my head. And of course, it hits my piercing. So it continued to bleed. It continued to pus. It got really swollen. So probably after about a couple of months of it not healing, I just went ahead and took it out. Also because at the time I had joined ROTC, Air Force ROTC. And of course, you're not allowed to have any facial piercings or anything like that. I tried to put like string in it or, anything that could kind of mask it so you couldn't tell. Didn't quite work. So I had to call that piercing a loss. So after I got my eye pierced, I moved on because it just became addicting for me. But I moved on and, let's see. I think I got a piercing or a tattoo in almost every location that I lived at, except for my very first duty station. So fast forward to about 2004, 2003 time frame, I was out in Osan, Korea. And I said, okay, I don't really like this little fire around my belly button, so I'm going to see if I can get them to fix it. I don't know what I was thinking. Because now, I was like, can you give it some more flames, make it look like it's really flaming? Because the original one, let me see if I'm going to draw you a picture. The original fire I had was kind of like... Okay, I'm not an artist, obviously. That's my belly button. And it just kind of flamed up with a little bit of flame right there. So that was my original tattoo. It was not fancy. Definitely wasn't worth $60. So I asked the Korean tattoo artist if he could, flame it up, make it look, really spectacular. So when he was all done, I ended up looking like I had a fiery bear claw or something like that. That's the best thing that I can explain. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys because while I was out in Korea, I also got my belly button pierced and a couple other things pierced. But I got my belly button pierced and I got the tattoo. Since they're in the same spot, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. Remember, my body is not summer ready. It's rejecting me. So, but, okay. Hold on. Make sure I don't get too naked up in here. Alright, so this is the piercing. This is the, let's see. I don't know what you call it.
Fiery bear claw.
The fiery bear claw. So, that's what I'm stuck with for right now. Once my body gets summer ready, and I already told my tattoo artist, my local tattoo artist who laughed at me, by the way, with this tattoo. I told him, I said, hey, I need you to fix this up. I don't know what you got to do, but after I get this weight off, and I get this tattoo fixed, I can't get this weight back on because, as you can see, when you spread, your tattoo spreads, and that's not cute. So, I'm going to get to work on that, and maybe by the summertime I can show you guys what my new body art looks like. Maybe even it might take me till December or something. Maybe 2017. Anyways, so after that, still out in Korea, and something, I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided I was going to get my nipples pierced. I won't be showing you guys that, but I got both my nipples pierced. And the first one, I don't even know how to explain the pain. There's just no words that could explain the pain. To the point where when he was done with the first one, I was dead serious about not getting that second one done. But of course I had friends and they were like, no, it's going to be, it's going to be uneven. You need to have both of them done. So it was a lot of tears, a lot of hand holding, a lot of hand squeezing. But I got that second one done. And it was worse than the first one. And I promise you, I will never do that again. And I say I will never do that again because I ended up taking one of them out, or it came out or something, rubbing up against the clothes a couple years later, and the ball fell off. And when I caught it, the ring was like half in, half out. And these are another area that I have in my body that takes a very long time to heal. Because here it is, like I said, it was a couple years later, and I was still having problems with the nipple rings. I don't know if it was because I got them done in Korea, or if it's just my body. But at any rate, when I identified that half of it had already came out, the ball fell out, I tried to push it back through. And when I tell you, it was almost like I got them re-pierced. So I was like, no, I'm good. I just went ahead and took that out. So right now I only have one nipple pierced. and like I said, if that one happens to come out, that one is going to stay out as well. So after my piercings, I got back. I figured there's no other body part that I want to pierce at this time. So I moved back to the tattoos again. And I said, maybe I'll have better luck with the next location that I put my tattoo at. So the next one I got in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it is my kanji, Chinese, Japanese, I want to say, I can't remember, but I believe it was back in that day, all the little symbols were really popular, and so I had this one done. I wanted something that represented me, and being that my name is Joy, I've always thought, the whole joy and pain spectrum, again, because I'm a Gemini, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. So I believe that, joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. And that was my motto for a long time. You can't appreciate your happiness or your joy in life without having gone through pain. So I wanted to get that tattooed on my body. And I picked my wrist so that it would be a reminder for me. So this is joy and this is pain. The next tattoo that I got after leaving Hawaii was this tattoo. So these are a series of tattoos. This tattoo right here, the diamond with the 3 in the middle. This was the tattoo I got in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was probably about 2010 time frame. This is the original. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is the original tattoo. There was no color to it. Like I said, it was just kind of shaded in with the number 3. And the meaning for this tattoo is I'm a part of a fraternity of women, and it's called Alpha Lambda Zeta Fraternity. This is us right here, Alpha Lambda Zeta. Shout out to my frats. And when I crossed, I was a number 3 on the line. So I'm also one of the honorary founders of the organization, and we call our honorary founders Founding Diamonds. So this tattoo was my very first frat tattoo. The diamond stands for me being a founder, and the 3, of course, for my number, my line number, being the 3rd member to cross into this organization. The 3 also represents, me once again being a Gemini. So I originally just wanted the diamond, and the tattoo artist was like, let me jazz it up a little bit, let me do a little shading, and he was like, let me make it look like it's blinging. So that's how I got the little lines coming out. It was supposed to look like it was, shining bright like a diamond. After that tattoo, I went to the desert, and I came back home. I was supposed to be deployed for 6 months. I came back like about 5.5 months so that I could move out of my house and things of that nature, because I ended up getting assigned right back in the desert. So I ended up overall being in the desert for 1.5 years. When I came back during that time period, I headed home because I always go home. So I went to Texas, and I stopped in Houston, Texas to see one of my frats. And while I was there, I ended up getting this tattoo. So this tattoo is an ambigram. The way you guys are viewing it, and basically ambigram is a tattoo that reads forward and backward, upside down, either way, but it means something different. So this way that you're reading it, it says Trey, T-R-E. And this way that you're reading it, it says Ace. I don't know if you guys can really see it, but it's the A, the C, and that's supposed to be the E. So it's basically words flipped upside down. So I think I can't come up with any examples, but I've seen quite a few of them. At any rate, whatever you get for your ambigram, it has to be about the same amount of letters. So you can't have one word that's 5 letters and one word that's 3 letters. It just won't work. So the meaning behind this tattoo is, again, I'm a Trey. That's what they call the number 3 on the line. And so I got this, again, because being a number 3 in my fraternity, I'm also a number 3 in the zodiac sense. So being that I'm a Gemini, the Gemini is the 3rd astrological sign in the zodiac. So 3 to me is very symbolic. I thought it was very fitting that I would be the 3rd person to cross on that line, that I'm a Gemini. 3 means, divine, the Trinity. And so I made sure that I had that on my body again. Once again, this whole arm right here is dedicated to my fraternity. On the flip side, the Ace, being number 1, I wasn't a number 1 on my line, but it was a reminder to always keep myself first. Put myself first, which I have a hard time doing sometimes. And so that's why that one's facing towards me, because it's a subtle reminder that I can't be everything for everybody. I need to make sure that I put myself first in order to take care of myself in order to be able to help other people. The other thing that this creates is the number 13. So being that there's an ace or a number 1, a 3, or a tray, that equates to the number 13. And most people think that 13 is a bad number. I personally try to flip it. Because again, we go back to the joy and the pain. You can't appreciate the bad without the pain, or without the good. And so I look at the number 13 as I'm going to take the power away from that negativity, and I'm going to turn it into something positive. If you look at the number 13, it means rebellion or rebellious, lawless. And I thought, that fits me. That fits me because I've always been the kind of person that kind of goes against the grain. So being that I wanted to take the power away from that negativity, I looked at it as just because you're the kind of person that goes against the grain doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that you see things differently. While people see things in black and white, I see things in color. If people see things in colors, I see things in black and white. If there's no black and white, then I'm in the gray. I'm always trying to be different from everybody else. So that's the reason for this particular tattoo. My 1, my 3, my 13. Moving after that one, the next tattoo that I got was, I guess it wasn't a tattoo, actually. I think the next body art that I got was a labret piercing. And I can't remember. I got this one in Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery, Alabama. Once again, I'm in the military, and I got this wild hair. I know I can't have any facial piercings, but it was over a long holiday break, and it was from December to the Christmas to New Year's holiday break. And I figured that's enough time. I got it done as soon as we were let out. And I was like, that's enough time for me to get the piercing, have it heal enough for me to put, a clear one in or a brown one in or something like that. But I had always wanted it, so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get it. So I got this one done over the holiday break. And once it healed pretty quickly. I got a clear piece of jewelry. It was like a plastic. And you couldn't really tell that anything was there unless somebody was like dead on your face. I got away with it for, a little bit. But there was a couple times where you had to show up for PT really early in the morning. Like, we got there at 4:30, between 4:30 and 5:30. And I would forget to take it out. Like, the night before I was out drinking or partying or doing something, trying to look cute, have my little metal one in. And what would happen is I'd roll out of bed, do everything I need to do. But for whatever reason, I would forget, because this was like a part of me. I would forget that it was there. And I remember one morning, the military training instructor, she comes up to me and she was like, what is that? And I was like, what is what? And I was like, oh snap. Let me go ahead and take care of that. She was like, yeah, let you go ahead and take care of that. Now keeping in mind, I was an officer, so I should have known better. And I was teaching officer training school, so I really should have known better. I was supposed to be setting the example, and here I am showing up with facial piercings and stuff. But luckily, my MTI, she caught me before I actually interacted with the students. So from there, at that point, I had to make sure that I paid more attention. I was more cognizant of, what I had in my face and, what the piercings I had in from the night before. So after this piercing, the next one that I got was my foot. So you can see here, it's an abstract rainbow tattoo.
Zodiac.
It used to be a couple's tattoo. So basically, it was my ex-wife and I decided to get tattoos together And when we put our feet together, it created a Gemini and a Cancer. So the Gemini, which is the Roman number 2, and this is kind of like some water, just kind of fancy it up. And then this is the 69 symbol for the Cancer. And like I said, we got it in rainbow colors, and we're no longer together anymore, but I don't think I'll get this covered up because it was a point in time in my life where it was meaningful. And so, I don't feel like I need to remove it. I may add to it and create another meaning for it, but it's actually one of my favorite tattoos because it's the only tattoo that really holds color. And when I was growing up and looking at tattoos and things of that nature, I always saw people with a lot of tattoos and they had so much color, and I just thought, this color is amazing. But for a long time, I would continue to go to different tattoo artists, and they would tell me that they couldn't do color on my skin. They said I was too dark. And it kind of hurt because I was like, I see people darker than me who have color, and it looks amazing. And of course, I see people who are lighter than me, and their color, it just pops out of their skin. So I was like, I could at least get something in the middle. But unfortunately, it took years before I found a tattoo artist who told me that it's not about the color of your skin, it's about the expertise of your tattoo artist, basically. He said probably the previous artist just really didn't want to deal with the color in the skin or didn't know how to apply it appropriately. So I was very thankful when I got this tattoo in California, Santa Maria, California. The tattoo artist was amazing. And so that's why I say it's one of my favorite ones, because it was my very first color tattoo. So after I got this color, my rainbow abstract is what it is now. Because it doesn't hold the same significance that it held at the time that I got it. But after I got this one, I went back to Atlanta, Georgia. I was visiting one of my best friends, and I got we got a 2-for-1 special, basically. You don't want to get 2-for-1 specials. Just, I don't even know what we were thinking. We were coming out of a barber shop, and right next door to the barber shop was a tattoo shop. And they had people hanging outside the tattoo shop, and they was like, hey, we got tattoos, 2-for-1. It was like, we probably paid $50 for 2 tattoos. But he did an amazing job. In my opinion, he basically did this tattoo, Magnificent. He did that in cursive for me. Magnificent is the fraternity name that I was given. So we go back to my fraternity. Remember I said that this whole arm is dedicated to my fraternity. And so he put my name on here for me, my fraternity name, Magnificent. And then he outlined the previous tattoo that I had on here. And then he added color. So this is my second color tattoo. So he added color. Our colors are wine, black, and pearl. So this was supposed to be like a wineish color. Over time it kind of looks red, but it's deeper than the red. So he added some wine up inside the diamond to kind of make the diamond wine. And then he highlighted my bling bling and made that wine as well. So, do I have a picture of that one? Not really, huh? Okay. You guys can see that one. So it used to be just the diamond with the 3, and then we added the name and added some color to it. So that became, my second favorite tattoo, because now I had color in a visible spot. So moving on from that tattoo, my next tattoo was on this arm. This tattoo originally looked like this. Now, I asked the tattoo artist, this was out in Dallas, Texas, I asked the tattoo artist to give me 2 masks, and I showed him a picture, and the picture that I had drawn looked amazing. But this tattoo, let me tell you, this tattoo was nothing like the picture that I gave him. The picture that I gave him was more 3D in nature, and it was supposed to have these eyes right here were supposed to be like a butterfly that came out of the eye. So it's supposed to be a mask with like a butterfly that kind of came out this way. And I wanted to get masks because again, I'm a Gemini. And so it's that happy, that sad, the good, the bad. I wanted to get that piece on my arm. But I also wanted to give tribute to my mother. And that's where the butterfly came in. My mother was born in New Orleans. I was born in New Orleans. And my father was born in New Orleans. And so in New Orleans, you know, the symbol is Mardi Gras mask and things of that nature. So that's where the mask doubled up for me and for my parents. My mother had passed about
almost 2
a
years.
month prior to me getting this tattoo. And I always said I didn't want to put names and dates and things like that on my body, but I did want to put something on my body that would remind me of my mom, that would represent my mom. And she loved butterflies. So that's why I wanted to include the mask for my parents, add the butterfly, put some color on there for her, and this would be, you know, the mask of me being sad, because I miss my mom dearly. It's been, almost 2 years now that she's passed, and it still feels like every day that I talk about it, or any time that I talk about it, it still feels like it's very fresh. So I was kind of, initially the picture, the tattoo was, you know, it was cool. It wasn't what I wanted, but it wasn't bad. So a year went by, and I kept thinking about this tattoo and how it just wasn't what I wanted. And so I went in, I got out here to Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I'm currently at. And I found this amazing tattoo artist. And I let him know, I said, look, this is what I have. This is the picture that it was supposed to look like. And here's my vision for it. And what he put together, in my opinion, it was just completely amazing compared to the original picture. So here is the cover-up. This is the cover-up for my tribute to my parents, my roots, and you know, again, it's still pretty much the same concept. I'm not sure if you guys can really see it very well, but this is the sad mask. This is the happy mask. These are the butterflies now that are coming out of the mask. The colors represent, you know, my mother and my favorite color. I would have liked to put yellow in there. She was a yellow reddish person, but I decided to go with the purple and the blue, and leave the mask for, you know, the butterflies to symbolize her. And so here's a picture when it first got done. You can see my arms are swollen in both pictures, but it's a drastic difference from the original one to the cover-up that my tattoo artist did, Rabbi. And if any of you guys watched the Tatts episode 2 promo, he was the one that was sitting in that video, and he was doing my new tattoo, my most recent tattoo. But again, this was the original, and this is his cover-up. And you can't even tell, really, that the smoke stuff was here. The lips are completely different. This one just looks so much more realistic to me, and so much more vibrant. This was exactly what I was looking for. You know, my Mardi Gras mask to represent the roots, the butterflies to represent my mom, the happy, sad, yin-yang type thing, the mask to represent me as an individual being a Gemini. So that was last year. I got this done on the anniversary of my mom's passing. And I'm very happy with this tattoo. And so I went back to Rabbi, and I got my most recent tattoo. And like I said, if you guys saw the promo video, this one's still healing. It's about 3.5 weeks old now. But again, this is the Roman numerals for 2006. This is when my fraternity was founded, January 9th, 2006. So last August, everybody in the fraternity at the time decided that we were going to all get Roman numerals to represent the fraternity. And I don't know if you guys can see it, if you can see it very well. Like I said, it's still healing, but this is how it looked when he first did the work. And he does some really amazing stonework. And I just wanted my tattoo to kind of pop out. And when I saw the stonework, I said, "That's it. That's what I want to do. I want that stonework. I want it to be my letters, my year, my organization to be etched in stone. Like we are basically creating ourselves. We're chipping ourselves out and making our mark on the world. History in the making. This year is our 10-year anniversary." And so for 10 years, I decided I'm going to go ahead and get this frat tattoo. And I'll be adding some more items that represent my fraternity and me and how I feel about my fraternity. It'll actually end up being like a mini sleeve. I don't want anything to go below my sleeve line because of the line of work that I'm in and things like that. And because these tattoos are for me. You know, maybe somewhere down the road I may end up, getting some tattoos that are more visible. But during the summertime, you can see them. Any other time, I'm in my bow tie, my long sleeves, and I'm dressed up and I'm looking professional. So I won't ever get any tattoos that, come on my face or anything like that, or that are in really visible areas. When I wear watches and bracelets, these tattoos on my wrists are covered up. And like I said, when I'm in a professional setting, I take out my tongue ring, I take out my labret piercing, and I try to be as professional as possible. So I think I've covered the tattoos and the piercings that I had or have, and I just like to say, for me, when getting tattoos, the way I view it is that you shouldn't just put anything on your body. My first 2 tattoos, I just put anything on my body, but for me, they have to mean something. And I realize that as you evolve, your tattoos evolve. And so I always get something that can grow with me. Sometimes I can look at a tattoo and say, it doesn't necessarily mean exactly what it meant in the moment that I got it, but it still means something to me because it grows with me, and I can change my meaning for that tattoo. But I'll always hold dearly the original tattoo and the original meaning. But this is just my word to you guys. Tattoos are addicting. I'll probably be getting a whole bunch more. As far as my grandmother is concerned, she thinks I only have 2. She told me to stop getting them, so I just stopped showing them to her. But they're very addicting. But just make sure that when you get something on your body, it's permanent. Unless you're going to spend a whole bunch more money to get it off than what you spent to get it on. Make sure that it's meaningful. Make sure that it's something that can grow with you, something that you'd be proud to have on your body 10, 20, 50 years down the road. So that's what I got for you guys. I don't know if we have any viewers or anything like that. No, let me see. So, let's see. Most of you guys will probably replay later. I know that this was broadcasted on Twitter. We're also going to be putting it on Facebook, YouTube channel. Like I said, this is National Youth Pride Services, Women of Worth program. Make sure that you guys tune in. We got a lot of good things that are going on. We got episode 3 that'll be coming to you guys in a couple of weeks. So, look out for episode 3. I'm not sure who we're going to have guest starring on there, or who's going to be showcasing their body art, body work. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be amazing. So thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys. And this is Joy, like I said, Women of Worth program, and I am signing out.